foods, and make some noise when I mention something you like, and I might throw some odd ones in there, so don't worry about it. Psychonauts! Minnie's Bow Tunes! Oh, we'll talk about the kids stuff later. Archer! All right, Archer bands, yeah. Mickey and the Roadster Racers. DC Superhero Girls. All right, Sonic Boom. The Loud House. How about various Star Wars projects, including Star Wars The Clone Wars? All right, Ocala 2025, please welcome Nika Futterman.
Thank you for showing up.
Thank you for showing up.
Thanks for
I
joining
love
us.
it.
Thanks for joining us this weekend.
I was like, I've never done one of these by myself. It's usually with a cast or something. So I'm like,
Oh, really? This is your first solo Q&A?
this is my first solo
Oh my goodness! All right.
ever.
Well, this is good because because here's the cool thing about a solo is that, and I'm sure you've been with your Clone Wars Q&A, so the topic has to kind of be about that. But with this though, we can open up anything in your career and stuff like that. So whenever I have a solo guest, I always start off with this: what's the origin story? How did what drew you to wanting to get into the performing arts? Because I don't always say acting anymore, because somebody always says, well, I started off as a dancer, I started off as a singer, and then the dominoes fell into this. Yeah.
Right. Well, I originally, first of all, I had no idea that voiceover existed. I was like, I had this sort of like sole purpose in life was to become an actress. And I thought specifically, like I imagined myself like going down to like Saturday Night Live, Mad TV, that kind of route. I thought that was going to be the trajectory of my life, because I always thought like what is easiest for me is doing the funny. But then that kind of worked in a different direction than I thought it would, because I moved to LA and I started doing like just like television. And back then I had really short hair, and I was just sort of very different. Back then being different was not like what was in. And so I started doing like lots of like guest stars on TV shows. I was like the drug addict, the tough chick, the like, like everything. I was never the like hot chick or the like love interest or any of that stuff. Anyway, I met this woman who, after I went on, it was like a comedy audition, and she came out afterwards and she was like, hold on 1 second. She was like, listen, you're not gonna get the part, but I'm sort of changing the direction of my career, and I'm really interested in managing, and I would love to manage your career. And I was like, well, I don't really have anything to manage, like, I'm just starting out. She's like, don't you worry about that. Anyway, she started to call me and like make me feel so loved and wanted that I was like, oh my God, somebody wants me so badly. Yes, I'm gonna sign with her. And the first thing she said is, she's like, you should do voiceover. And I was like, voiceover? What is that? And she's like, cartoons and things. And I was like, that's so cool. People make a living doing that? And she was like, yes, they do. And she's like, in fact, I have a friend who is auditioning for this, has this part for you to audition this week at Nickelodeon for this show called Hey Arnold. And I was like, I didn't watch cartoons or anything. I auditioned for the part, got the part, and I was like, this is a cool gig. Anyway, little by little, I just stopped doing it. Oh, because at the same time I was trying to be a rock star. But so little by little, I just stopped doing everything else, because I said, this is so perfect for me. I never had a desire to be famous. I always wanted to be like a regular person and be able to walk on the street and chill with people and so I was.
It's you! Oh my God!
And so I was like, the universe has brought this thing that is like perfectly suited to who I am as a being, and now it's 30 years later, something like that. And that's my origin story.
Oh, very nice. Hey, and yes, and like I said, everybody seems that nobody really has the direct thing I want to be an animation actor. It's always, and that's how I always give everybody too. Is like be an actor and then find the spot, stuff like that.
Right.
But you looking at your career, like I said, you were bouncing around and you're trying to find what I call a main line, and then everything else spit off from there. But when did you feel like you had found your comfort zone in voice acting? Was there a moment, or was there just a project you worked on and that, oh, hey, I'm doing this now and I feel okay with it, as opposed to the adjustment period?
Well, I think for me specifically, I know other people feel differently, but for me, I was comfortable right away because, like I said, I was not, like, some people have come up and asked me, they're like, I'm really shy, I don't know if I could do this. And I said, well, no, voiceover is like, if you're interested in doing that, is the perfect thing for somebody who's shy, because I don't know, if you guys have met other people like comedians or anybody else, and you just assume that when you meet them as real people that they're going to be like, but most of the time, or I don't want to say most of the time, a lot of the time, performers are shy people in real life, and so for me, I never liked the idea of people like looking at me and making me into this like incredible thing, and making me bigger than life. And so immediately with voiceover, I was like, this feels like the sweet spot. This feels like, this is awesome. Also, I always found it really difficult to act on camera because I'm like, with my face. And so voiceover was so great because I'm like, there's no camera in your face where you have to think about keeping the muscles in your face relaxed or anything, or acting like you don't care. With voiceover, I was just like, I can look like a crackhead and it's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I immediately was like, holy wow, thank you, universe. You've given me this like gift to do something that is perfectly suited for me.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, very nice. I got a little list here of some of the things that you had done, which certainly blipped on my radar. This is a bit of a deep cut, but you did one of the voices on the Punisher PC game, which goes back way back. But that is, weirdly enough, that's getting a little bit of resurgence.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the show, and there's been a thing now for like guys who are like, hey, top 10 list of games you played 20 years ago that are still worth playing, and that's been in around the number 4 or 5. So it's people are starting to talk about that a little bit again.
That's crazy. Well, what's really interesting for me is because I'm not a gamer. I mean, if anyone knows anything about me, the game that I play, because I'm a degenerate poker player, is so I spend all my time playing poker when I'm not doing this stuff. And so I never had time to become a gamer, but I'm as I get older, I'm like, ooh, I started maybe want to become a gamer. But in my career, I've done hundreds of games, and now that I started doing conventions, I'm realizing how much they mean to people in their lives, and people are like, yeah. Other friends of mine who do this stuff, they're like, I was in this franchise and this franchise and this franchise, and I'm like, so was I, but I never knew that people cared,
No, it's very interesting. And yes, we will get to Star Wars, I promise. But she's done some other really, really fantastic work. Well, first of all, on the poker card, is it Texas Hold'em, or
Texas Hold'em.
Just to
Yep.
Just for my edification. And another thing too, done work on Archer, a show I absolutely adore.
Archer's amazing.
Yeah, just a wonderful cast.
I wish that was like one of those shows that I worked on that, they kept bringing me back to play parts, but I wish that that's the one thing that in the voiceover world, usually it's voiceover people doing voiceover, but as time went on, they would hire on-camera people, live-action people to be in animated series because, either the producers wanted to work with those actors or whatever, and I was like, wow, this is the one reason that I'm sad that I'm no longer doing that stuff, so that I could get the hype enough to be on shows as a lead and things like Archer, because that show is a genius show. Yeah. But once I got in with those guys, they'd be like, okay, Nika, you want to play this part? Like a lot of the bad gals.
Yeah. So it's great work on that.
Thank you.
You were actually in 2 of my absolute favorite anime series from the sort of the 10 era, and you played strong characters in both. Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Yeah.
Sif, a character you returned to several times.
Yes.
Continue to return to.
Yes.
And also Hela.
Yes.
Long before the movie, so,
Yeah.
and I'm 99% certain you're the first person to do voices on both of those.
Yes. And Hella's, I mean, now I'm getting hyped because of, the game that everybody, that's another thing, like people, I never know what game people are going to be super psyched about, but, this new Marvel Rivals is like, oh, the rage. Mm-hmm. And I was like, people ask me, well, how'd you get the part in it? And I was like, well, I played Hela a few other times, and they just offered it to me, which was super cool.
Which is great, because sometimes it's not always the case.
A lot of times it's not like that.
I mean, there were guys that worked on, Fred Tatasciore, who did the Hulk in Earth's Mightiest Heroes, had to re-audition to play in Avengers Unlimited. So sometimes it's like that. But.
Totally, and it's interesting because I guess it's like new producers like to work with new people, or they're like, I want to go in a new direction.
I want my vision.
Yes, exactly. And then there are just some parts that you play that you basically created, and there's just no way anybody else could ever do it.
Mm-hmm. And across the comic book animated aisle, you were also on Batman Brave and the Bold.
Yes.
Which I consider it's like Batman the Animated Series is the best DC cartoon of all time, but Batman Brave and the Bold was the most fun.
Yes.
Especially as a comic book fan. It was a goofy love letter to DC's Silver Age and all the wackiness.
Totally.
And Catwoman.
And
that musical number.
Right?
That was
Tara.
cut initially.
They cut it initially? I didn't even know that.
I think there was the line about his fish hook isn't as big or something like that. That got trimmed out, but it made it on the internet.
See, I didn't even know that. That was such a fun thing, and to do it with Gray and Tara, and that's like one of those iconic characters playing Catwoman, where it's like, again, like there's so many people that have played it, and of course I'm older, so I always thought about Eartha Kitt as Catwoman. That was my Catwoman. And so I usually try not to listen to what other people have done, and I just create my own thing. But it's like I couldn't help it. Like she was just in my head. But it just is an honor when when they're like, hey, yeah, you get to be part of this like historical thing in some way or another. I loved it.
And they had plans for Catwoman for season 3, but it gone. I know. It's right. No, they released a list, the court board.
Yeah.
Of all the plots that they were gonna do, and
I would have loved that.
Could have. I want to live in that parallel.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Exactly.
Darn it.
But you're able to join again, MTC Superhero Girls.
Yep.
Hawk Girl.
Hawk
or
Girl.
Hawk Woman. Depending on.
Well, yeah, she was kind of a girl. She was a teenager, right?
Yeah.
So I never know, and I always tell people, I really don't watch the stuff that I do. So I never know if it ends up being good or bad or what I sounded like or anything. That was one of those shows I never saw it.
It's adorable. I mean,
it's cute. It's for little
my
kids,
goddaughters,
right?
I turn them on into it. Like,
Yeah.
who's this character? Well, this character,
And there were so many
weird
characters.
Uncle Pat would explain.
Right. Yeah. There were so many characters in that.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was really funny who they would choose me to play, or who they choose. It was interesting.
Definitely that process. And I think we should probably talk about your Star Wars work. I know that was good too. Let's talk a little bit about our favorite human Twi'lek hybrid. Who pops up occasionally, but it's a fun little character.
Well, okay, so you're starting with the little.
Let's start with the little one. I'm working my way up to the big one.
Let's just say that, I guess, in between when the person that we won't, or the thing that we won't name, because what is she, a person, a thing, or whatever, name yet, since I was in that world, and, they know me, and they know that I could do, all kinds of things, they would just throw me a bone here and there.
Sure.
And really, it was like that. After there was a lull in me working with them, so then they'd say oh yeah, Nika, come and do this. Then that's basically what that is. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Which means that they like you.
Yes.
As opposed to sometimes, oh my God, we have this character, we're gonna bring this person in again.
Right.
The fact that they say, hey, you wanna come on in and do this and try this? And
Totally.
Yeah.
But what's funny is that sometimes when you become so known for a certain thing, they just think of you as that thing, right? So there were so many things that happened over the years that I'm like, no, that's what I should be playing in your show, not that. I'm only going to be mediocre in playing that. But what about this, or what about the tough chick in that? So I think it's funny how it's always wonderful to be included in anything, especially a Star Wars project, but sometimes you just like still pine away at wanting more.
And it's safe to say that we'll always want more of Ventress any chance that we can.
Yeah.
So how did that role come about for you?
Okay, so that role came about in the very classic way that roles come about in this business, which is I auditioned for it. They never tell you what you're auditioning for, especially if it's something big like Star Wars. They like
always have weird code names like.
Exactly.
Like
I don't
waffle,
know. Yep. Yeah, like waffle, or something recently they call it marshmallow or whatever. So I had no idea what I was auditioning for. I knew it was a villain. That's how they described it, if I remember correctly, although it's been a long time. And I was like, but I immediately was like, oh man, this baby's mine. I need it. And then I think I had a call back. And then they reached out again, and it was like a third callback, and this time they told me what it was for. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I can't remember how many other people I was up against, but I was like, I just thinking about it now gives me the chills. Because I remember, I was younger back then, and I was like, I wanted it, and I thought, if I don't get this thing, my life will forever be bad. I was like, I want it so badly. And I think I went on like my fourth call back, and that's when I met, I can't remember if I met Lucas or if it was with Dave, and then we had this whole long conversation about what I thought about her. Now, I didn't know till years later that there had been the micro series.
Right.
That Greg played. I didn't even know the character existed. I literally thought I created her, that she never existed before. So I'd never gone to see or watch or learn. And that's usually what I do with characters, unless it's something, well, no, even when it's someone like Catwoman.
Greg cracked the egg, but you cooked the omelet.
I cook the omelet, and no offense to, because Grey's great, but she's incredible. I just mean that I never watched that. I still haven't seen it. And I just was like, I am creating this thing. I am it. She is me. I am her. And that would be the way it is. Hopefully forever. Yeah. And so basically, I think on like the fourth or fifth, callback, they were like, it's yours. And I was like,
well, I hope so. After the third call.
that was it. That's nice of how I reacted.
Because because after the third callback, that's when you get invested. That's when you really start to think, oh boy, I'm close. I can taste it. And
yes,
we've all been there, done that, and then a third, even a fourth. It's like, you're so talented, and we're going in a different direction. But we're going to keep you in mind.
Yeah. They're like, we're going to go in a different direction. Or now it's usually like, you know what? You don't have enough followers. We're gonna go with an influencer.
Is that
I don't know. I know that's conversations behind the scenes. I don't usually hear those, but I hear that's the conversation behind the scene. Like, maybe you should work on having more followers. I'm like, I'm too lazy.
Have you ever thought of doing a TikTok?
I was like, oh man. Yeah, people are like, don't you want to get on TikTok and do voices? And I'm like, no.
I want to get paid to do voices.
Yeah, or I want to like actually connect with people and have like real, whatever. But I guess I need to do that stuff. I guess.
So like I said, you truly were with this character. What was the signature moment for you that you recall with Ventress, where you're just like, wow, the moment that's made you like, maybe they gave you a heads up this is coming an episode, or just, I don't know if you just got script for script. Was there a moment you're like, oh my goodness, I'm going to get to do this with this character?
Well, I don't remember a specific moment. I just remember this. Look, working with Dave Filoni is like, because he's just a Star Wars nerd too, and it was like the beginning of his career.
Yeah.
And he became basically Lucas's Padawan, and he took it to like a whole other level, and he's like the most incredible guy. And you know, anytime you work with him, he's like an artist that sketches everything even in his head. And so when, you know, we talk about the character, immediately I was like, oh my God, I just walked into heaven, baby. Like, he's like, okay, Nika. And then he just starts talking for 45 minutes, you know, about like something very specific. And you're like, 45 minutes later, you're like, yeah, man, this guy goes deep, you know. And I knew immediately, I was like, I just walked into like this experience that's just gonna be, because unlike other people, and I know people ask me this all the time, like, was I a huge Star Wars fan? Well, I was like, you know, like some of us out here who was alive when the movies came out in the beginning, and I had 3 brothers, man, and they were into it, and I tagged along to all the movies and saw them a billion times, but I wasn't one of those deep, but working with someone like Dave was like, just gave you a whole other, like, how lucky you are to be part of this universe, you know what I mean? Like, just to be, and so anyway, so the first record I had, the other thing that's different than now is pre-COVID, you know, like Dave was one of those guys that's like, you record with a whole cast, you know, who's ever in that episode, you go and you record with a cast, so they'd have the whole cast lined up. And you know,
which
we would
is
just
very fortunate. When that can happen, yeah.
And I mean, obviously, you guys go deep because you're big fans. All those people that were in, like the cast of the Clone Wars is so good, you know. And so it was, and so we were all just like, oh, thank you, universe, for including us, you know. And then it was a really cute thing because like someone like Ashley was just a little baby. And I remember when, you know, this was her first thing, and I was like, she's the cutest, sweetest, and then she just turned it into her universe. Okay. Oh, you know what I mean?
See what you did
like,
there.
She crushed it so hard. I was like, I felt like a mama bear that was like, oh my God, girl, like I just to be part of that and to watch that, and also Matt, because Matt was an on-camera cutie pie, and he played and he crushed it. And so to watch, not just people like, you know, Dee and stuff, because Dee and I started out together, but like, and all the other people who were like, you know, kind of older in the cast, you know, to watch
Dee Bradley Baker, who does the voice of
everybody,
everything.
right? Like
and sounds.
Like just to be in a room with all of those guys, so to either watch the experience of completely new people coming up, and also like everybody who was in the cast who was so incredible, just it's like the biggest gift ever that I will never, ever, ever forget.
Well, it was a gift for all of us as well. I mean, it really was. I mean, it was Clone Wars, it came when we needed it. It was an odd time. I won't say it was down or bad, but everything was just kind of neutral.
Yeah.
And it kicked things in. It was great for the older fans. It was a great egress for the next generation of fans.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just, it wasn't something, oh yeah, Star Wars, my dad's into that, or my older brother's into that, or some people now, it's like, yeah, my grandpa's into that, you know?
Right.
So it's just great, and just continues to just be, because people still going back, re-looking at it, realizing just how much nuance that they really put it in there, and how much they're drawing for it, for the live action things, the expansion.
Totally.
It's not its own thing. It really was a tree whose branches are going throughout the canon.
Absolutely, and I of course give like so much of that credit to Dave, because he was such an artist and so deep into it, and for George to give Dave to hand over, that was like, I feel like the first time he handed over the reins to him.
It really was.
And to watch that too, and their relationship and everything was like so incredible, and I'm forever like thankful. And then I had to wait 11 years to come back. But anyway, that's a whole, I'm not bitter.
What's the dream gig at this point?
The dream gig?
Yeah.
The dream gig is a Ventress show. That would be the dream gig. I mean, but like the dream gig, like in real life, like if I,
Or just anything.
like I would go back to live action if they gave me Ventress, which will never happen. But like, let's just say I was, you know, like I dreamed and dreams actually came true. I'd be like, they gave me a trainer, got me in shape, taught me how to use a lightsaber. That would be the dream gig, being Ventress and alive. But I will take her own animated show. That's just as much of a dream. That's because, you know, besides that, my life is a dream. Like I already lived my dream, and I'm so in gratitude of it every second, every day. So yeah, so but the gig, that would be my dream at the moment.
All right, well, thank you for indulging my capricious curiosity. Before I go on out and start taking their questions, on behalf of myself and the audience, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for your talents, your professionalism, and all these performances you brought to these movies. You know, you've really done a tremendous body of work, and it's thoroughly enjoyed. And we are always going to look forward to the next thing as well.
Thank you.
My pleasure. All right, folks, you know how this works. Who wants to go first? Whoever goes first, I'll give you 2 pieces.
You didn't say about the voices.
It's just her. It's
What did you film it out?
Oh, okay. I know, Brian. Okay, great. What's your name?
Lucas.
Lucas. What you got, Lucas?
I was going to ask, what is the most difficult character to play?
You know, it's funny because I think I was asked that question one other time in my life, and I don't find playing any character difficult. I find it more difficult to do like when I've done like commercial voiceover, when I have to be a real person. That I find way more difficult than any character I've ever played. I think in the realm of most difficult is when it's not a particular character. It's when I do a video game and they ask me to play 12 different characters. And that's what's difficult, because usually it's like you have to do a range and they all have to sound different, and that's really hard to do. I have a billion characters in my head, but when you have to do them all in one session and make sure they all sound different, that's like really hard. And especially now in my tender age, I don't have the stamina I used to have. But that would be the answer to that question. That's the only thing that's difficult, when you have to, when they like use and abuse you in one session. And it's always video games. Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. Good question. Thank you. And there's your 2. All right. Hey, what's your name?
John.
What you got, John?
Hey, John.
Alright, so I think we were all like surprised in like the best way possible when Assange was brought back and Tails. So how did that come about for you? How did you find out, and was it like, what was that experience like for you?
I had to wipe off the seat I was sitting on. No, I'm joking. I was joking around and say it took you long enough, but no. The truth is, over the years, I just started I kind of just like gave up on the idea, because I just thought, okay, you know, once the whole Cartoon Network, Disney thing happened, and then Disney got Clone Wars, and then they did the last season, and I was like so surprised, because we had this whole storyline that we were planning on doing for the next season. I was just like, oh my gosh, and this Ventress isn't in it, you know? And so, you know, I waited a few years, and then, like I said, you know, like I get thrown a bone, you know, like the Holocron, or the this, or the Twi'lek, or the blah, blah, blah. And I was like, but what about Ventress? How can you just leave her storyline just like... And then, of course, the book comes out, and I'm like, and she dies. And I'm like, now they're not going to bring her back, she's going to be dead. So I got a phone call from my agent, and they said, hey, so really interesting. They want to bring Ventress back. And I was like, what the? And they're like, do you want to do it? And I was like, what? How would you ever? Like, of course I want to do it. And they're like, you know, right now it's just, what was it, 1 or 2 episodes, you know? That was I didn't know if it was going to be 1 or 2 episodes, but you know, just like a little bow, another throw the bow into Nika. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then, you know, I talked to Dave and he's like, well, this is just like how we're trying to like bring her back, you know? And then they said, because there's this other thing we're thinking about. And you know, like everything else in this universe, we're not privy to it either. They keep everything top secret. So he told me there was something else, but he wouldn't tell me what that was. And he said, but there's something else. And then I did that something else. And now, you know, it's like, I just want more, you know? And so hopefully that is gonna be the case, but I was like everybody else, got the phone call. Or maybe you didn't get the phone call, but I got the phone call. Yeah.
Great question, John. Thank you. All right, cool. Hey, what's your name?
Devin.
Hey, Devin.
Well, first suggestion, because you were talking about poker,
Yeah.
you were into that, and they're getting more into video games. There is a video game called Poker Night Inventory, which is like playing with a bunch of characters in a poker game. My actual question was, because you voice a lot of like scratchier characters.
Yeah.
Really scratchy. When you have to like scream or like really emote as them, how do you do it so that, or rather, how do you do it so it doesn't like
hurt your voice?
Yeah, and also like if it's really bad, just how do you suit the voice afterwards?
Okay, so there are plenty of voice actors who do things they're supposed to do, which I don't. But I'm thinking about it now because I'm thinking about it almost retroactively as I said, I hit this tender age where I don't have the stamina I used to have, which is also what a lot of, if you're beginning, like, you know, trying to have a voiceover career, you have to think of it like you're a singer. And you gotta do vocal exercises because that's just gonna keep you also able to, like, to have a bigger range. So, there are plenty of people, I mean, you can have a vocal coach and hire somebody, but online now, that's one of the great things about online, is that you could do all these vocal exercises that will keep your voice much more powerful than it would be, because your vocal cords are a muscle. You don't use them, they don't work anymore. You gotta stretch them out. But the thing is this, because people always ask like how I do things, and I think it's like being a painter, like being anything else, being a regular actor. There are things I do I wouldn't be able to describe how I do them. I see a picture of a character and all of a sudden the voice just comes to me. It's like, from the universe, enter my body, and I'm like, oh, okay, you know? And I guess if I sat down and thought about it, I could think about the physical things I do, but really it just comes to me naturally. And I think that's what everybody's gotta do if you're thinking about having a voiceover career. You have to think about what you physically can do, and when you look at a picture of something and you're creating a character or you're imagining something in your head, you do it the way you do it, because that's what's gonna get you the gigs, being authentically you. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and then the other thing is the soothing. So there are things that you can do, and these are things I've been doing. There's like, you know, throat coat, which a lot, you know, people use and they swear by. I don't think it works so well. I just recently got this thing called vocal mist that my friend told me about. It's called vocal mist, and it basically is like this little machine, and it makes mist, and then you go like this into your mouth and it mists up your throat. And I did think it worked pretty well. I think you're supposed to do it more often than I do it, but I think now I've been taking it with me to sessions because it kind of like opens up your throat, and it's called vocal mist. Yeah, but hot water really works for me. Yeah.
I'm in the middle of a throat coat as well too.
Yeah.
At Disney, we always had it there, and I was just, you know what, peppermint tea worked better for me.
And there's that other stuff, which is like, I forgot what it's called, but I know it's like an Asian thing, and it's like this gooey stuff. Have you ever used that?
I think I know what you're talking about.
They have it at some studios, and it's almost like syrup. And you put it in the throat, and it's supposed to soothe your...
Well, when we opened the Mustang Laugh Floor show, everybody was doing crazy voices, imagining wanted us to do that.
Yes.
And then within like 4 weeks, half the cast was on vocal rest because they were just 6 to 10 shows a day.
Yeah.
I picked up a lot of overtime.
It's amazing. And then like most regular human beings cannot... That's why a session can only be at most 4 hours.
Yes.
Because no human's supposed to talk for that long and be all right.
And it's also like so important to know your limits and stick within it. Don't think, oh, if I do a Hail Mary, I do like a, I will destroy you. That's great, you got the part. Now you're stuck doing that
Yes.
for a session and you're coughing up blood. So yes.
Yeah.
And then they'll remember you as the guy that did that and then couldn't do it in the booth. And
Right, and then never book like, see, when I was younger, I could do like 2 back-to-back 4-hour video game sessions. I couldn't do that. No, it's impossible.
regular sessions maybe.
Regular session for
That's
sure.
what Ray does.
Yeah, regular sessions for sure. But if you have a video game session, make sure you don't plan anything important where you'd have to speak afterwards.
Pretty much, absolutely. Hey, yes, we hope you enjoyed this talk about, like flat throats and stuff like that. Hey, what's your name?
Nice to meet you. My name is Brennan.
Hey, Brennan.
So I have a couple questions.
Well, you're allowed one.
Only one? Okay. What do you think? So your history says that you actually started off as a singer. What happened to that?
Oh, okay. So, well, I grew up. My dad was a music producer, so I was always into music, and I was like, I want to be a rock star, man. And I imagined that was going to be my life. And when I was in my early 20s, I got a record deal, and that fell apart. And as that was falling apart, all of this stuff was happening, and I went from like being really depressed that wasn't going to be part of my life at that moment to thinking maybe the universe is just providing this whole other thing that is supposed to be my life. And that's sort of become my mantra anyway in life, and what I kind of always tell people, especially young people, that like one door closes, another one just opens up, and that sometimes what you think is going to be your life is not what's meant to be your life, and that there are other things that are going to make you happy. I still love music, and I still, I can't sing like I used to sing when I was young, but I still, sing for work. I do this show called Loud House, and the chick in it, my character I play, she gets to sing, so I still get to do fun things like that. And then some other stuff, like for Disney and everything. I mean, most of the characters that I play can't sing, so I just do Disney singing, but so but I don't, it's weird because when I was younger I thought I could never live without this, and now at this time in my life I'm like, no, it's all right, it's okay that I didn't do that. Yeah.
Thank you for that one. What's coming up project-wise that you might be allowed to share with us?
Let's see. Well, there's a few things I'm not allowed to talk about that are super fun. I got a new, I guess, we'll stay tuned on that one. I got, new seasons of shows that I'm already doing, like Loud House and all the stuff that no one cares about here. That's like all the Mickey Mouse little kid stuff. Always doing new stuff with that. And then I've got a bunch of games that are coming out. I guess one that I'm allowed to talk about is one called Marathon that's coming out at the end of this month that looks visually pretty incredible. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm allowed to talk. That's pretty much the only thing that I can tell you that would be worth anything besides the shows that I already do, that I can say that I'm doing new seasons of those shows. Yeah.
And if I just happen to be in a casino playing and you come on in, should I just collect my chips and just cash out?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, all right, good to know.
Yeah. But I live in Los Angeles and part-time in Vegas because I'm such a degenerate. So if you're a poker player and you're ever there, you can find me mostly at Commerce Casino or in Vegas at the Wynn. I'll be playing. So if you want to come play with me, I would love it.
Absolutely, good in mind. Thank you all so very much. One final question for me. Do you want to take a picture with this wonderful audience?
Yes.
All right, everybody, you know the drill.